Started, Manoj.
Excuse me. Yeah. Thank you, Dipali, for starting the recording over here. We will proceed ahead with our first session right now.
Welcome.
Yeah, yeah. So, guys, today is basically the first session. Okay, we want to keep this particular session as simple as possible. That is basically our motto for every session, and that is what we always try to achieve in each of our session. Why? Because we do recognize that we are having diverse set of candidates in each of our session, so we will always be basically teaching all of you in a very simple way so that all of you are able to understand it. But it does not mean that we will not go in depth, because if we don't go in depth, that would be one of the biggest mistake over there. Why? Because there's two things which all of you should understand. The difference between the theoretical learning and that of a project-based learning is, in theoretical, yeah, we have just got started over here, guys. Yeah, just started over here. Okay, so the difference over there is like, guys, in theoretical learning, you will basically learn each and everything about Ariba, but the depth will be very less. So when you will go into a project, you will be basically stumped over there. What is this particular thing I'm seeing? What is this particular client asking me over there? But when you say that you are doing a project-based learning, so what you will do is like, you will see whatever most of the client is asking right now in the market over there, what they are trying to implement, how they are trying to implement over there, what kind of requirement, basic requirements I'm going to get, and how the solutioning part we have to do over there. Excuse me, guys. Okay, so this is how you learn in a project based training over there. Okay, that's the first thing. And the second thing is like, which all of you should basically do what, basically remember, we are beginning with the process flow session over there, but remember, this process flow session is not from a end user perspective, otherwise that would become a theoretical training. So this process flow session, we are going to look at it from a functional perspective. Now you will understand why I'm saying that from a functional perspective. Okay, and once we complete the process flow sessions, then we will begin with the configuration sessions, because each and everything must be interconnected with each other. Okay, and before we begin over here, a simple thing, guys, each of the things which you are seeing in our sessions are not coincidence. Everything has a meaning. Okay, okay, excuse me. Okay, so let us begin our session today, guys. So basically we will be beginning our session with sourcing. Okay, now what is basically, guys, one more thing over there which we want to basically specify to all of you, that if you are having any queries in between, please do write down your queries in a notepad or in a notebook over there. Why? Because as we said, see, we don't use PPT over here, because that is basically theoretical learning over there. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing is like, we have to basically remember all the particular projects what we have done, what kind of thing we have done, and we are going to show that particular thing in our sessions only. So we have to remember this thing. So if this particular flow get broken in between, what will happen is like, all of you will be basically missing out some portion of that particular session, so which we don't want. So if you're having any queries or question, please do write it down in a notepad or in a notebook over there. At the end of every session, we will have a question answer session, so don't worry on that part at all. We will have a question answer session every session over there. Okay. Excuse me, guys. Now, sourcing. What do you mean by sourcing? So in a very small and easy way, if somebody asks you what do you mean by sourcing, you can say finding the best source of supply. Source of supply means basically the supplier and the price over there. Okay, but from which particular supplier you're going to take the delivery of the goods and services and the price over there, nothing else. Now within the particular sourcing, guys, you will see first is RFI, second is RFP, and third is auction. These are basically generally called as types of sourcing, or basically events. This is the terminology which is used by Ariba over here. A request for information, request for proposal, and auction means auction by itself. Okay, so what does request for information means? So request for information basically means, guys, that when you are trying to buy a particular product over there, but you don't have any knowledge about the particular product, so what you are trying to do, you will be basically trying to understand the technical things. Same thing we discussed in our demo session, right? In a very simple way, correct? So here basically you will ask the supplier for technical quotation over there. Supplier will give you technical quotation, nothing else. Okay, so please keep this thing in your mind. What is RFP? RFP stands for request for proposal over there. Here basically you should have a understanding of that particular product which you're going to buy over there. Okay, so in this case you will basically ask the supplier that, boss, I know about the product fully, you just give me the particular price over there, nothing else. Now, as we discussed over there in our demo session, that upstream basically means what? Upstream is a particular module where, or particular solution where we will try to find source of supply for non-catalog items. Now, can any of you guys recall from our session, guys, the non-catalog item from a Wednesday morning session? Can any of you guys recall what do you mean by a non-catalog item? I think all of you have logged in with the help of Go to Training app over here, guys. Okay, and in the Go to Training app, at the end over there, you will basically find a chat box over there. Okay, just type in your views over there or answers over there, and then you can click on send. In this way, basically, we can have a small communication in between over there, because at the end of the session we will have a question answer session. We will basically unmute all of you who are having queries over there. But in the time being, can any of you guys recall from our Wednesday session what do you mean by non-catalog item? Correct, correct. New products. New product basically means what? Excuse me, guys. New product basically means the product which you have not bought before. You're going to buy it for first time over there. So of course you won't know what, who's the particular supplier who will be delivering these particular products and what would be their price. So this is basically called as non-catalog item. So in upstream we are basically working with majorly with non-catalog item. Now I gave an example over there, what how to differentiate between an RFI and RFP. But I also gave a small warning also in the demonstration that, see, it was a very overview kind of session. I could not go into the depth over there. Okay. So what was the specific example which I have given? Suppose you don't know what is smartphone. All of you are going to, ask me back, Manoj. I think you are saying a situation which I think is never going to happen. But I am saying assume you don't know anything about smartphone. You want to buy a smartphone. So when you will go to a shop, are you going to directly ask them about price? Of course, no. You will say, I am very, I'm having no knowledge on smartphone. Okay, so you explain me what are the different features of a smartphone over there. Of course, I want to buy a smartphone over there. So the sales representative will not go to the price directly. They will go into the technical specification. They will make you understand what are the different components of a smartphones are, and how to ascertain whether the smartphone is good or not. Correct? That's the first thing. So those are basically what information? Technical information, right? And once you get that particular technical information, then next time you go to, you know, the shop to buy a smartphone over there, let's say for your mom or your dad, you have already bought your smartphone over there. At that time you were not having any knowledge on smartphone, but once this particular technical concept, the sales representative made you understand what you are doing over here. Basically, you have find out the what technical information over there. Next time onwards, you will not once again go to the supplier over there. Sorry, not go to the particular shop and basically ask all this particular more information. You are directly going to say, yes, I know about all these things. Please tell me what is the price over there. So that's the difference between RFI and RFP. RFI means when you don't have any knowledge about that particular product and you want to buy that particular product, but before buying, you must understand its technical features. Then only you can compare each, the different things. Why? For example, if you want to try to buy a smartphone over there, you can basically buy a smartphone which will start from 5,000. It can go to 100,000. That means 1 lakh also. Both of the things are smartphone, right? Both of the model are smartphone over there. But why? Because of different component changes, different features, software experience, hardware experience, everything will be different. Correct? So you must ascertain that particular thing. Now, this is what most of you will basically know when you will go to a project. But I'm afraid so, guys, this is not enough. Why? Because when you will go to a project over there, as per our definition over there, new product is there. New product means what? We have never procured that particular product. We don't know who is the supplier, what is the price, any information you don't know specifically about it, right? So both for RFI and RFP, you are doing for new product. Then the question is very simple. How are you going to decide when to go for RFI, when to go for RFP? This would be the first question which your client will ask. When you're going for implementation for sourcing in your upstream process, this is the first question which your client will ask. Of course, for every time you cannot go ahead with RFI, then go ahead with RFP. In certain scenarios, only you will go with RFI. In certain other scenarios, only you will go ahead with RFP. Client will ask you this question. So this is where the issue will come. Because I've literally seen many consultant who were working besides in our project or in the projects where I've gone for auditing also. They have said RFI is for new product, RFP is for new product. Then technically there is no difference between them, but there is a huge difference. The difference lies in your understanding. Now let me explain to all of you guys. HP computers is there. I think we all know about HP, right? So HP is known for what? HP is basically known for desktop, laptops, server, accessories, all this particular thing. That means basically related to IT hardware. Is it a smartphone major? Is it a smartphone major like OnePlus or Samsung or LG? All of you will basically say no. Now let's say HP wants to launch a new product on smartphone, a new smartphone which they are basically going to begin the production and they are going to sell it to the customer. Okay. let's say never launched before. So now basically client is coming to you with two scenarios. First of all, procurement of components for laptop X360 2019 model. This is the first scenario which your client has given. Very good. Let's look up, look out from the second scenario. Okay. Third scenario. Now, this is basically the three scenario which let's say your HP is giving over there. So what are you going to do? RFI, RFP, which one you will choose over here? This is a very intriguing question. Let's try to understand it first. 2019 model laptop. That means this is not a new thing, right? They have already done the procurement for laptop X360 degree or X360 from 2019 onwards. That means what? That means in a very plain and simple answer, you can say they know about the technicalities of this particular product. Okay, exactly. What's the next thing? The next thing is the technicality is known. That means, Manoj, I think here I will ask my client to say this is an RFP and I will say this is correct answer. Okay, let's go ahead with this new model. Let's say 2020 X360 has not been launched in the market. Now, when you will be trying to procure the components for X360 2020 model, it is not launched in the market. That's the first thing. Second thing is like, do you think the same component from 2019 will be carried over to 2020? And if that is true, and if that is true, so what will happen is like, why any consumer basically will try to buy a new laptop unless and until that laptop is broken, because the specs are remaining same from last year to this year, or maybe last year to this year. So what it would be, guys? RFP or RFI? Now, keep one thing in your mind. All of you are here to learn, okay? And remember, I also did not learn this particular thing, you know, within 6 months or 1 year. You know, I might well admit to all of you guys that it took almost somewhere around 3.5 years for me to actually navigate in the Ariba. That means the proper solutioning part. Why? Because Ariba is very, very different from your SAP counterpart. So please remember, please don't remain in a, please don't make it a ego issue that, hey, Manoj, if I give a wrong view over there, what will happen? No, all of you are here to learn. What I want is like, don't make the mistake in your project, because there I won't be there to help you out over there. There, if you make a mistake, that will be very costly over there. But here, you are all here to learn. Make a mistake, share your mistaken view also. I will not judge you. Why? Because all of you are here to learn. Even I am also learning. I will also not claim that I know full Ariba. And if somebody is claiming, that means that particular person is a damn liar. It's not possible. Even people who are working in Ariba, they cannot also claim that they are having 100% knowledge. Okay. So the thing is like, views are never correct, never wrong. But what I am trying to make all of you understand one thing is like, let's say for two parameter, I am making you understand the whole scenario. Tomorrow when you will go to a project, client is asking 3 parameters or 4 parameters. you should not get shocked over there. What is this, Manoj? You told us two parameters is there, but your next client might not ask you two parameter. They can ask you one parameter, or they can make it three parameter. So how you're going to adapt to this thing, it will basically depend on your understanding. So that is why, please share your views. Does not matter whether it's correct or wrong, because views cannot be correct or wrong. Okay. Now, majority of you are saying RFI. Some of you are saying a combination of both RFI and RFP over there. Now, first of all, let's go ahead with the RFI. See, what I'm trying to do is like I'm trying to logically understand it. Which one is correct? Which one is basically which one particular solution we are going to use. So first of all, if I say RFI over here, RFI means what? That means I am having no understanding of the component of the laptop. Is it so? All of you can shoot back over there. Manoj, in 2019, we had a Intel, okay, i7 9980K model. This year, basically, we are having Intel i7 10,000 something model. But my question to all of you guys is it not a CPU? Intel i7 new model and the Intel i7 old model, both of them are CPU, right? They, it will not become something like, uh, neural processing unit, NPU, correct? Yes, the model number has changed. What has happened is like instead of 4 core, you will get 6 core. The speed will rise a little bit significantly over there. If it was 3 gigahertz over there, it will rise to 3.2 or 3.3 gigahertz. So that means all of you will say, Manoj, the components are remaining same until and unless somebody invent you don't need a CPU. Instead of it, you need something altogether different. Then you have to know about the characteristics of that particular component. Until and unless that is not done, even if you are going with a new model, it does not matter. That means what? It will never be RFI. Now I do understand why all of you have taken this point of view from a RFI, because same mistake I also did. Because all of you are looking at this particular X360 2020 model from a customer or consumer point of view. Remember, whenever you're going in a Ariba project, you are implementing Ariba for your client, and client is always the buying organization. Please don't look at it from a customer point of view or supplier point of view. Your main job is to think about from a point of view of your customer, that means the buying organization. Exactly. So from their point of view, try to understand whether they know about the product or not. They will basically say this thing, that it's the same component over there, a little bit more processing power, that's it. So it's never going to be an RFI, it will be RFP. But in this scenario, smartphone mobile X360 model, what it will be then, guys? RFI or RFP? Come on, guys. Again, I said, please, please don't hesitate. I'm not here to judge. Basically, we are part of the team. Please do think of it like this way. Now, most of you are basically saying it's RFI over here. Why? Because you are thinking like the procurement of component for the 2020 model is not RFI. So here it is, we will do it the RFI, in the RFI way. So yes, it is correct. It is RFI. Why? It's not about whether you have done this procurement or not. Basically, you can argue with me that Manoj, here in this mobile also you will need CPU, motherboard, RAM, all these things, camera, all these things, which is same with that of laptop. But Can you use the same processor, same motherboard, same laptop? No, not at all. And another thing which I have said before, this all of you have paid attention. Exactly. That means you are looking at it from a buying organization point of view now. Never launched before. That means Dell has never launched a smartphone before. This is the first time they are trying to launch a smartphone. So whenever they are going to do the procurement for this smartphone, what will happen is like they will say, we understand that we should have that specific different components over there, but there is a small issue over here. And what is that particular issue? That issue is we cannot use the same processor, same motherboard of the laptop within our smartphone. So we have to understand that different technology from our suppliers. Once we understand that particular thing, what will happen? Then only we can actually procure those particular products or components for the smartphone from the real supplier. So that is basically the difference of RFI versus RFP. Very, very simple, guys. Now you understood in which scenario you can go ahead with RFI, in which scenario you will go ahead with RFP. Okay. Next time somebody from the client side asks both RFI, RFP is for non-catalog item, please don't get confused. You have to say, boss, is this a new line of product over there? You have never launched anything before there. If you have never launched it, then only we will go ahead with RFI. If you have launched it, we will go with RFP. And let me tell you one small thing over there. See, when you will go to any project, Ariba projects over there, obviously your client know about the functionality, but they don't know about the technicalities. So they cannot judge you on your knowledge, but they will always judge you on your process knowledge, because they will have, they will know this differentiation, and they will try to understand whether you're good or not. So what they will do is like they will immediately ask you this type of question. By your answer, they will understand how much capable functional you are. Exceptional scenario where a new model can be an RFI. Exactly. This can also happen. But remember, that is an exceptional scenario. Now, exceptional scenario when it can happen. Today, you are having CPU, graphics card. These two are discrete. That means different over there. Let's say after 1 year, there comes a solution where CPU and GPU is no longer differentiated. One particular intelligent processing unit, IPU, comes over there in the market. So again, Dell will say, basically, I don't know about this particular component. So for this, I have to do RFI. So in that case, in this exceptional scenario, that means when the whole technology landscape is getting changed, or basically the uh, new invention or new discovery is coming into the picture. So in that case, even for the new model also, you will have to do RFI. So that is why, guys, when you are basically designing your solution, you have to first pay attention to the mainstream process, then exceptional process. And I will tell you why. Because something which will hit you 85 to 90% of the time, that should be very, very clear. The next thing would be like thinking about a 10% process over there. Okay. That is how you do it in the project. Now, clearly you understood the difference between RFI and RFP over there. What about auction? Here also, if I ask auction, what is auction? All of you will basically say auction means basically I want to reduce the price. But is it enough? No. So if you want to basically understand what is auction over here, there are certain points which all of you should be very, very, very clear on this part. And what is that particular thing? That particular thing is, guys, you will see in auction over there, all the supplier has given their quotation. Among them, you're trying to drive down the prices much more. That is what you call as auction. So why I'm asking this thing? Because from ERP point of view or from SRM point of view, you will say basically after RFP, I will do the auction. Again, client will say, what is the scenario? So that is why you have to understand one thing over here. Price quotation must be present. That means what? That means RFP must be done first. Technically speaking, guys, in Ariba, you can directly create an auction over there. Lot of basically participant ask me, Manoj, in Ariba, I can create direct auction. I don't need an RFP. Will it happen like that in a project? And I will say never. Why? Because as I said, the auction definition is price quotation must be present over there. Then only you can decide to reduce it over there. So when you will get to know the price quotation? At least when you have done the RFP. That means in the RFP, you publish the RFP, supplier has given the quotation, then you are seeing that the price are on the higher side, you want to reduce it. So always auction will be done after RFP. But we are still not clear for which RFP. Okay. So for which RFP? Here is your answer. Where the expected price and the quoted price by suppliers are what? Are too different, or you can say having huge difference, huge or significant difference. So in that case, basically what you will do, you will do the auction. Now we should be very, very clear on this part. All of you are going to say to me that Manoj, you have basically wasted 30 minutes to just make us understand when we will use RFI, when we will use RFP, when we will use auction. And I will say, all of you are damn right in this case. Why? Because first of all, we are basically showing you how the process is different from the other things like SRM, ERP over there from Ariba. Second thing is like this, we are not doing on coincidence. Why? Because shortly we will go to the screen and there I will show you one concept, quick project and full project. All of you would be able to take your answer independently. We should be chosen quick project or full project. If you know what is the meaning of RFI, RFP auction and when you are going to do RFI, RFP auction. If you don't understand the basic things, you won't be able to take the decision over there. So that is why to remove the resistance in between, what we are trying to do is like from the beginning only, we should be very, very clear. That is why we spend half an hour on this part only. Now, before I go into the screen, where I'm logging, just going to log in over there after some time, maybe, 4 or 5 minutes later on, we are going to log in into Ariba Buyer. Now, Ariba Buyer is basically an application which will be, or URL over there, which will be accessed by buyer only. Now, all of you, guys, am I audible to all of you? Can you please confirm in the chat box? Just a moment. Yeah, yeah. I think there's some problem over there. Huh. Just a moment. Yeah, just a minute, guys. Yeah, some of you are basically going to have some issue over there, as we know, guys. Yeah, definitely you can rejoin. Yeah. Okay, so if you're having some issue over there, like you're not able to hear me completely, so in that case what I will suggest is like log off from the uh, go to training app, and then once again relog in. Okay, same issue same issue I think we were also facing in yesterday evening session. Yeah, yeah, some of the participants was complaining that, hey Manoj, we are not able to hear at all. Then I said to all of them, just relog in once again, log off and log in. That issue got resolved. And if it is a network issue over there, guys, then basically I think you have to take it, take this thing with your ISP, internet service provider. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So who is a buyer? So here comes your answer, guys. Employees belonging to the buying organization. Okay. Who will do what? Who will basically order the goods and services? Plain and simple. Nothing else over here. Okay. So this is basically called as the Ariba buyer and nothing else. Now, of course, there is role concept. And if I don't say that there is a concept of role over there, I will be totally wrong over here, guys. So you are having role concept over there. So what is the role? Now here it gets interesting. This is standard role, guys. Sourcing agent role. The standard role, which you should give to the buyers. I'm not finished till now. This also has to be given. So all of you are going to say, why two roles? Then I will basically write a category of users over there: end user and admin. And I think most of you will understand what do you mean by end user over there. End user are the users who will basically, buyers only, they will basically create this transactional document. Very good. Who are admins, guys? Now if I ask this particular question over there, and if you've worked in any SAP product over there, all of you are going to say most probably, Manoj, these are the functional consultant. Why? Because they will only have the admin authorization over there. And I will say here in Ariba you don't have that particular concept. Why? Because admin will be never functional consultant. Why? Because functional consultant is going to have the different role altogether. Okay, so then all of you are going to say, then okay Manoj, what is this particular admin user over there? So then I will say again, their buyer, employees belonging to the buying organization. But these guys primarily will never create any transactional document primarily. So what they will be doing, they will be basically be helping out the end users over there. Now if this end user is having any issue over there, they will try to resolve it. If they cannot resolve the issue, then they will come to us. Us means in here bracket functional consultant. So they are basically what you can call as L1, level 1 support. They will basically talk with the end user, they will basically try to address their issue. If they can't over there, they are going to come to us. Okay, so this is how the role concept work in Ariba over there. So that is why I told all of you guys that these two particular role you have to use over there, or you have to give it to the end user based on the sourcing project process. And remember, for every session from today onwards, whenever we are learning a new process flow or some other configuration, we are also going to talk about the role first. But in actuality, all of you are going to ask me that, Manoj, when we will see how the user or buyer is created, how the roles are assigned to the buyers, then I will say to all of you guys that yes, we are going to see that particular thing, but remember that will be seeing in the mass data load activity. Why? Because those things we will be doing it as a part of mass data load, not anything else. Okay, because as I said, the project implementation over here in Ariba is very, very different from that of SAP. Why? Because if you are in SAP ECC projects, old projects over there, you will be working with SAP methodology. If you are in S4 HANA, you will work with Activate methodology. If you're in Ariba, you will work with neither of this methodology. Why? Because you will working with the agile methodology over there. So the process flow over there in the Ariba projects are very, very different. Okay. Now, where we will basically create the sourcing project. So what we will do is like we will go to the top right hand side and there you can see a create option. Click on create, click on sourcing project. And this is basically the screen which we are talking about, guys. So in this particular screen only, we have to create the sourcing project. Plain and simple. Okay. Now, let us try to understand a few points. First is name. We will just give a name like, just like this. Just a name for your sourcing project. In real-time scenario, end user will basically give the name like procurement of laptop, procurement of this things or that thing. Okay. But since this is a process flow thing which we are going to understand it from functional point of view, we are just giving a test name over there. Next option is description. You can give more description if you like, or else you can just copy it over there. Copy from project basically means you can basically click on this drop down and you will see all your sourcing project which has been previously created over here coming over here. When you will select any of this test sourcing project, what will happen is like all the data from your old sourcing project will come over here into this new project which you're going to create, sourcing project. Now this is the thing which I was talking to all of you guys with that particular example. Project, you see there is two option, full project and quick project over there. And let me just give you a very simple answer. What do you mean by full project and what do you mean by quick project? Full project means RFI, then you're going to do RFP, and then you're going to do auction. Quick project basically means either RFI or RFP or auction. Any one can you can choose from either of these three things, but only one. Now, here client will ask you over there that this is a Ariba thing over there. So as per our solution, you please design it which option we will choose, and according to your solutioning, you know, solutioning point of view, we will basically implement it over here in our project. Now, what would be your views, or how basically will decide on the solutioning part, guys? Now, RFI, RFP, auction. In full project, we are going to do this particular scenario. So the first question which all of you should think is like before giving the solution, that means in full project, we have to basically start our process with RFI. That means every time you're doing a full project, you have to start the process with RFI. That means RFI is mandatory. Is this the particular thing which we have learned over here, guys, using our scenario? Correct. No, no, no. RFI is not basically mandatory over here. Why? Because hell yeah, RFI is not mandatory always. RFP is also not mandatory. Auction is also not mandatory. It depends on the client's requirement. If they are doing a requirement like this, it will only be having RFP over there. If they are doing a requirement like this, then first RFI, then RFP. So of course, you will say to your client over there, I think full project will not work over there. You have to basically work with the quick project. Now, once you say this particular solution over there, immediately client will basically ask you over there, very good, you have given a very good solution, but see, my end user over here, even if you give them a very good training and all this manual and all those things, they will make a mistake. Can they change this full project to quick project later on? And the answer is no. In this particular screen, create sourcing project screen, if they can change it, they can change it. After you have basically created the sourcing project, they cannot do it. Plain and simple. That means you have to tell your client, no, it is not possible. So immediately your client will basically say, full project option should not be given. So all of you guys agree that full project should not be given over there to the users, end users? Of course, exactly. Now, how you're going to do the changes? Now, as I told all of you guys, in upstream, if you want to do the changes or do the configuration, you have to go and do it in the template. But the fundamental thing which all of the Ariba consultant makes a mistake over here is the template config will only work when your sourcing project has been created. Is our sourcing project created over here, guys? Take a guess on this part. Is our sourcing project created? This sourcing project? What do you think on this part? Share your views, guys. Exactly correct. Exactly correct. No, our sourcing project has not been created over here. So that means until and unless our sourcing project has been created, none of the template configuration will come into the picture. So where you will basically make sure the client's requirement is implemented over there. So the only option which you have got is basically through the modification in the source code. So always remember, in create sourcing project, just a moment, screen, any changes which you have to do, it has to be done through source code modification. Now, as we have understood in our first session, Ariba is a on-cloud solution. On-cloud solution means your client, neither you as basically employee of the implementation partner slash support partner, you are going to not get the source code authorization, or basically to change the source code authorization, to check the database table, or to change the database things. Just like in on-premise solution, you are getting that access. In on-cloud solutions, you are not going to get that particular access. Since you are not going to get that particular access, how will you do it? So this is where Ariba shared services come into the picture. So in this case, you have to create a ER. What is this ER? Enhancement request. Where you have to create this thing? You have to basically create this thing in connect.ariba.com by using client's credential. Don't use your own credential. Very good. Very good, Manoj. But there are certain issue which all of you should remember over here. Enhancement requests are chargeable to the client. Yes, some of the client will basically get, most of the client will basically get 4 to 5 enhancement requests free of cost. But apart from 4 or 5 enhancement requests in the whole project, every year Ariba will charge some amount for each enhancement request. So our job as a functional consultant is quite opposite to having some 100 or 200 ERs. Why? Because the client will basically ask you for everything, every configuration things and other things, you are giving a solution based on the enhancement request. So what I am hiring you for? I've literally seen many Ariba consultant going into a project, and you will see later down in our sessions, it can be done through the template configuration, but they will never know that that kind of configuration option exists. They will easily say, oh, this kind of requirement, you have to do it with the help of enhancement request. Huge enhancement requests are basically listed down, but my motto is very simple, guys. We have to justify our position over there in a project, whether you're working in implementation or in support. So my motto is always like, until and unless it mandatorily requires a source code changes, as I said, mandatory changes to the source code modification is required. Till that time, I will try to find out a way through configuration, and I will try to improvise the solution, and I will do it through the help of functional configuration. Now, if there is no other solution other than changing the source code modification, then that is basically a candidate for enhancement request. So in most of our project where I've worked, maximum enhancement request which I've basically seen was 40. On an average, I will try to keep it somewhere around 25 to 30. It has never breached the 40 mark, but I have literally seen many projects basically where I've gone for auditing, it is ranging somewhere around 100, 105, something like that. So please don't do it. Why? Because all your client, when they have to pay so much money more out of their pocket, they will understand. And remember, enhancement request is not final. Final means it's not a one time payment, because your client's logic will change, their business scenario or business process will change. Not maybe not next year, but next to next year it will change, and when it will change, the ER also needs to be changed over there. So Ariba will once again charge money for that. So that is basically the what you can say motto which I always keep in my mind. Okay, so here there is no other option other than to change the source code. So here we will do the enhancement request. So this is basically our first requirement. What is this particular thing? Project. Now here, as per your client requirement, end user should see what? Only quick project. Now, if you just write this small requirement within the enhancement request and you give it to the Ariba shared services over there, Ariba shared services basically consultant will immediately write you back. We are not getting your requirement. Please specify your requirement more clearly. Why? Because most of the Ariba consultant fail to understand that those guys are not your average functional consultant. They are basically Java developer. Why? Because Ariba was developed using Java. It is written in Java developing code, Java code only. So those guys are, Java consultant over there, Java coders. They are not functional consultant. So you have to be very, very clear with them. You cannot give a condition like this. So you have to basically say end user should only see only quick project. Very good. But I don't want to restrict this particular thing to the admin. Admin should be left alone. That means nothing should be changed for the admin users. Now, how you're going to construct this particular logic? So this is where the concept of role comes in. Now you're understanding why before going to this particular screen in the create sourcing project screen, I told all of you guys about the role, because you're going to need it in your project. Sourcing agent means end user. So if role is basically sourcing agent, then what? Only quick project should be present, and by default chosen. Quick project, full project should not be shown over there. And if the role over here is sourcing manager, okay, Don't change anything. So in this way, guys, in this way, you have to write a requirement for the enhancement request within your basically to your shared services of Ariba. Then they will basically say, okay, Manoj, we understand. You are very, very specific. We can do it. Just don't write one sentence over there, done. No, they will not, they cannot work with this kind of logic. So that is why, guys, you will understand, okay, Manoj, then that is why you basically told us about the role. Even though we are going to see this thing in our mass data load session, but today at least you mentioned the role because of this thing. Exactly correct. Similarly, because of this thing only, we understood the difference in RFI, RFP over there. Exactly, nothing is coincidence. Now, you will select quick project. For example, here I will choose RFP. See, I cannot choose multiple things. Okay. Now, there are few things which all of you should remember over here. And that particular thing which you can see is, first of all, the test project is coming over there. And it is a mandatory field. What does this particular field means over here, Manoj? So I will say to all of you guys, test project basically means what? Test project basically means whether the process which you are doing or the sourcing project which you are doing is real time or just for testing purpose. Now why? Because remember, Ariba buyer which you are using over there, it will have the development, quality and production versions. Some of the client will basically take development, quality and production landscape over there for this Ariba buyer. Other client will basically take development and production to save their cost. They will not use the quality. But if you go to Ariba network, now what is Ariba network? All of you are going to ask me. Then I'm going to say Ariba network is that particular specific application which will be used by the supplier to log in and do their activity. There you will ask, okay, Manoj, so I think for Ariba network also there is a development, quality and production landscape. And I will say no. Ariba network is basically by default one URL is present and that by default is a production. So all of you are going to then ask me then Manoj, how you're going to create a supplier for development and quality? Because in production, I do understand you have to create a production supplier, but for development and quality, we have to work with a test supplier. So Ariba will give you the option that automatically, if you're connecting development and quality with Ariba network, automatically test supplier will get created. And if you're working with production supplier over there, it will only happen when you're connecting Ariba network with Ariba buyer production. Now, test project basically means what? Test project basically means you are basically working with test supplier. Okay. Or what? Or basically, if you say yes as test project, that means you are basically working with test supplier. And if you're going to click on no over here, it basically means you're going to work with production supplier. That is the basically meaning of it over there. Okay, nothing else. So we will select yes over here. Why? Because we will working with test supplier only. Very good. Now if you see the language over here, it is coming as English. Currency is coming as US dollars. So we can understand that these are the normal fields over here. But why English and US dollar is coming over there? So this is basically coming from where? From the buyer profile over here, guys. Okay. So please remember on this particular part over there. Okay. Buyer profile. Manoj, what do you mean by buyer? The particular person who have basically logged in over here. Very good. That means the end user. And end user profile means, I will say, you have to create the buyer, right? You have to basically create the buyer within Ariba system over there. So when you create over there, when you're creating the profile over there, you have to mandatorily give preferred language and preferred currency. So these two things, preferred language and preferred currency, is automatically coming from the buyer's profile over here into the this particular screen. Okay, keep this thing in your mind. Okay, now you can see there are certain things which is called as regions. Let me just click on this drop down, click on search more. And these are basically the different data which you are seeing. So region is almost like that of a, geographical region kind of thing. Okay, no, buyer cannot do the full project over there. Remember, within the buyer you are having two sections of users: end user and admin. End users are the users who are having only basically what? Basically the sourcing agent role over there, and the admin basically will have what? Only the sourcing manager role. So full project will basically be used by a sourcing manager role. That means a subset of buyer, not the all buyers. Okay. Now basically if you look at the region over here, guys, region is nothing but your geographical location over there. You can see these particular different geographical locations. Now Manoj, should we maintain this particular master data in Ariba? Yes, this is a master data. I think all of you understand this particular thing. So here comes the answer, guys. Majority of the master data, when you will go for any Ariba implementation, or you're already in a support project, or you're going to join the support project, you will see it exists in ERP. It already exists in ERP over there. So since it already exists in ERP over there, what you have to do over here? Rather than just maintaining the data once more in Ariba over there manually, why not move this data automatically from ERP to Ariba? All of you will say, yes, Manoj, this is a very good point. And what is this thing called? This thing is basically called as master data integration over here. Okay. So master data integration also we will see in our integration session. But for the time being, just keep this thing in your mind that this data is coming from ERP automatically each day from the master data integration point of view. Yeah. Now let me select this thing as US. Very good. Click on done. Department. Once again, what do you mean by department? Department is a master data. You can have different fields like IT, HR, FI, all of these things. These things also will come from your where? Basically, it is going to come from your ERP only. Okay, through the help of master data integration. Okay. Now commodity. Click on this drop down. Click on search more, and this is basically the commodity code which you can see over here, guys. Okay. So basically, there are few things which all of you should be remembering over here. And what is that particular thing? Just a moment. Just a moment. Okay. So this is basically, you can see the commodity code over here. Okay. So what does this particular thing means over here? So all of you will say, commodity code, it is almost equivalent to that of material group, right? In ERP, Manoj? And I will say yes, with emphasis. What is that emphasis? Equivalent over there. Okay, so please be clear on this part over there. It is not equal, equivalent. But where you are going to basically get this data? Because these are basically UNSPSC data. What is this, Manoj? UNSPSC? All of you are going to wait. One moment. Please go back and tell me. Then I'm going to say to all of you guys. Okay. So what is this UNSPSC over here, Manoj? United Nations Specified Commodity Code. This is meaning of the commodity code. Why? Because Ariba always talks the language. It understands the what? Understands the meaning of Unisys basic commodity code. Now, okay, but why we cannot basically keep this particular material group over here from ERP? Why we can't do it? Why we can't do this thing over there, Manoj? Why we cannot bring this particular ERP over here? Because of one simple thing. In ERP, you are having custom version commodity code, or sorry, custom version material group. But in Ariba, you are having UN SPSC specific commodity code, which are totally different from the custom version. Just like think of yourself, you're knowing English, you're talking with somebody who knows only Russian. So if that particular guy is talking in Russian, you won't be able to understand what that particular guy is saying. And when you will talk in English over there, that guy don't know about English. So effectively no communication at all. Correct? Same thing also over here. So remember, commodity code which is used in Ariba is generally always UNIS SPSC specified commodity code. Ariba talks this particular language over here. Okay. So some of you are basically going to ask Manoj, how we are going to see this particular thing over here. So this also has to, but remember, this will not come through the help of master data integration. So from where it is coming? It is going to come from your mass data load activity. Okay. It is basically going to come from your mass data load activity. This will never come from your ERP. Why? Because this data does not exist over there. Okay. So please keep this thing in your mind. Okay. So this was a little bit different, Manoj, right? And I will say exactly correct. It was different. Why it was different? Because of one simple thing. And that particular simple thing is, if the data is not existing in ERP, how you are going to bring that data into Ariba over there? So yes, most of the data, master data will basically come through your, come with the help of master data integration. From where? From ERP to Ariba. But there are certain master data which does not exist in ERP, or their format is not same as that of Ariba. So those master data you cannot bring it with the help of master data integration. So what's the solution, Manoj? You have to do the mass data load activity over here in Ariba for those master data, where you will be using a CSV file to maintain the data and upload it manually in Ariba. And in your support project, you are going to update them. This is a mandatory part in every project. Keep this thing in your mind. Okay. Rest of the things like, contract months, contract effective date, these are basically, since this is a test system, guys, over here, it is present. Generally, these things will be used only in your contract process, not in sourcing project. Okay. Predecessor project is again another important thing which you will understand in our contract creation session, not in the sourcing project session. In the sourcing project, it's not basically a predecessor project which you're going to understand. Now you can see a template is automatically coming over here. Select a template. Lot of template basically you are seeing. Manoj, there are a lot of templates over here which we are seeing over here. And I will say correct. So which one I will choose? You can choose any one of them. But remember, at least one template has to be chosen. This is basically the Ariba point of view over here, guys. So we will use basically a simple thing, this particular template. Now, Manoj, do we have only standard templates over there in the project? No. Standard template is basically a good point of reference over there, guys, but they are never going to be used in your projects. You have to basically work with custom template. So all of you are going to ask me, Manoj, what is custom template? How we are going to basically configure those things and how we are going to do these things? Those things we are going to have a look in our template configuration session, guys. Okay, but for now, we have basically clicked on this request for proposal and we are going to click on create. Now over here, all of you are going to say, okay, Manoj, see, this is the document ID which has been created and this was the description of our sourcing project. Now our sourcing project has been created. Yes, we will basically, yeah, custom template configuration is the mandatory thing in any project which you have to do. We are going to see this thing in depth, guys. But remember, those things we are going to see in our template configuration session. Why? Because everything will happen in a step-by-step manner. First, we will complete the process flow. Then once we understand the process, what kind of general requirements are coming over there, then only we will go ahead with the configuration over there. Why? Because both are interlinked to each other. Exactly. Now you can say basically your sourcing project has been created. That means here, if you want to modify the process, modify the rules, modify the validation over here, these things can be controlled with the help of a template configuration. Before this particular point where the sourcing project was not created, you would not have basically worked basically with this, what, with this particular screen over here. Okay, so that is why guys, you have to understand all this particular thing in detail or in depth over there. Okay, now what we are going to do guys is like we are going to take a 5 minutes break. So always remember, in our session we do generally take a strategic break in between. Why? Because if we don't take a strategic break in between, this will become a university lecture, which we don't want. Frankly speaking, which we don't want. Why? Because we want all of your attention over here, so that all of you should be understanding this thing. So let us do one thing, guys. Let us take a 5 minutes break. Okay. Yeah, we are not ending our session for today. No, we are not ending our session. We are going to take the break for 5-6 minutes, and then we are going to continue with our session for today. Same thing, it will happen from all the session onwards. Okay. So let us take a break over here, guys, for 6-7 minutes. After the break, we will continue with our session. Okay. Remember, we are not, we have not completed our session for today. Yeah, thank you guys. Let us take a break, and we are going to meet after 7 minutes over there. Yeah, after that we will continue with our session for today also. Yeah, thank you guys. Guys, am I audible to all of you? Can you please confirm? Yeah, yeah. Thank you guys for your confirmation over here. Okay, so first thing first. Okay, so these are the different things like timing rules, bidding rules, and currency rules are over here. Okay, there is two things which basically I want to go into that particular thing to tell all of you guys. And remember, this is not for the first screen, but for the whole sourcing project over there. Okay, we are not going to go into detail of what is timing rules, what is bidding rules over there, but I'm just going to give you a sneak peek about what is the timing rules, what is the bidding rules, and there are certain general things which all of you as a Ariba functional consultant should know. So first thing first is basically as a Ariba functional consultant, whenever you're going into project, you have to understand two changes. And what is that particular point? User dependent field. What does this particular terminology means? That means what data will be entered in this field, it will depend on the end user, or you can say basically end users will enter the data. Very good, Manoj. That is what we are doing. No, no, that is not what we are doing over here in the sourcing project. End user will enter the data within sourcing project, because if you are going to look at sourcing project from an end user point of view, then again it will be a theoretical session which we don't want. So we are going to change your point of view. Why? Because the second point of view is also very important, that is fields, or you can say config option. Okay, both of this particular thing is very important. Why? Because functional consultant will never create a sourcing project in production. So where they are going to configure this field or enter this field data? So functional consultant will enter the data slash perform config. Where they will do it? Within the template. So this is the first thing which all of you should understand. Then only you can do the configuration properly, then you can give the solution properly. Example, Manoj. Okay, enable scoring on participant response. I'm just arbitrarily taking this particular point. What does it mean? So you will see when you're seeing the full sourcing project, at the end of the sourcing project, once the supplier has given their quotation, you will see Ariba is giving a particular score to each of the supplier price quotation. And by comparing that particular score, supplier score against each other, Ariba will automatically suggest this one is the L1 supplier, L2 supplier, L3 supplier. And I think most of you understand this one, L1. L1 means lowest quotation giving supplier. L2 means second lowest quotation giving supplier. Remember, only price will be taken into factor from a Ariba standard Ariba's point of view. Now, of course, all of you understand this option always has to be yes. It should not be no. But we have logged in as a end user within the sourcing project field, and I can select this option as no as a end user. So can all of you guys take a guess whether it's correct or not to give this option to the end user within the sourcing project? This option. What do you think on this part, guys? What are your views once again? Remember, there is no correct answer, no wrong answer. What is your view? Is it correct that this should be given to the end user within the sourcing project, or we should not give them? Correct. Correct. Now most of you are saying yes over here. Why? Yes, you're correct, guys. Yes, but why? Because remember, this is a standard feature of Ariba over there. So this decision, whether they are going to use the only the price factor over there to do the awarding, or some other factors will also be included over there, that's a different thing altogether. But who will take a decision? Not the end user. This decision will be taken from the client's higher management. They will give the particular requirement to the functional consultant, and functional consultant will do this thing within the template itself. This is how it is done. Now some of you basically will say, Manoj, no, I want to give this option to the end user. Now what is the repercussions over there? Let's talk about it. Now let's say Dipali is end user. Dipali has created 4 sourcing project, and in the last sourcing project she has given the option as no. Now she notices in the last sourcing project, when she is going to award, Ariba is not showing which standard Ariba is not showing which one is L1, which one is L2, which one is L3. So Dipali will say, Manoj, what has happened? Only for this particular sourcing project, Ariba is not showing the ranking. At least it should show me the ranking because it will help me over there. Yes, I'm going to use it or not, that's a different thing. I think you have done a wrong configuration, or Ariba is not a suitable solution over here. But the thing is like, this option should not be chosen as no, she did not knew. And it was also the functional consultant failure that this particular option has been given to the end user. Why? Because this option is basically an example of this point, functional consultant dependent fields or configuration. So this option should not be given to the end user over there. It should only be done by the functional consultant within the template itself. Okay. Now why it is coming over here? Because there will be certain participant in our batches or in our sessions, guys, who will basically say, okay, why not go ahead and see what Manoj has not said. I will do the opposite and see. See, the thing is like, yes, you can do the opposite. It's not an issue, guys. But remember, whatever practice you are doing in the system, the same thing in all probability you are going to do it in the project. So be very careful about the things which you're doing. It should not basically have a big side effect. Okay, Manoj, you have given the functional consultant example of a functional consultant dependent field. Give me an example of user dependent field. Response start date. What do you mean by response start date? Basically, response start date means you're going to publish the sourcing project. Supplier can create their response or quotation from this particular date and time. So every sourcing project, I think most of you will understand, will have a particular start date and end date, right? So what do you mean by a start date or end date? Start date means when the particular sourcing project will become editable to the supplier, and supplier can create the response. End date basically means the due date. After this date and time, what will happen? Supplier cannot create the response, neither edit the response, neither submit the response. Now this cannot be determined by the functional consultant at a template level. Why? From a single template you can create multiple sourcing project, and all the sourcing project response start date and due date will be different over there, but this will be determined by the end user over there. And if I hard code over there, let's say 31st August 2020 10:30 am within the template itself, we know this template I will basically my end user will use it for next 1 year. So what will happen on 1st September? So whenever a end user is creating a sourcing project from my template, custom template over there, they will immediately get an error. Response start date cannot be in past. So that is why always remember, we should not, as a functional consultant, do this particular configuration of fields which are basically dependent on the end user. That will be equal to that of hard coding. I think most of you are coming from ECC or SRM background over there. You know the concept of hard coding, right? So you will always tell, as a functional consultant, you will tell the developers over there or technical consultants over there that please don't do hard coding. Why? Because the value might change. So in that case, our coding and all the logic which we have used, it will not work fine. Correct? So these are the two most important thing, or what you can say, basic things which all of you have to know before you are preparing any solution, before you want to go ahead with the configuration. If you are not knowing these things, you can go to any project over there, and I can guarantee you guys, immediately this will not be noticed, but after 4 5 months or 6 months, this issue will crop up, and this will lead to huge escalation. Why I can say you with 100% confidence? Because I also did the same mistake in my first project. I also faced a lot of escalations. So that is why I am saying with confidence that you will be having an issue. But remember, that was in 2012. At that point of time, you could make a mistake over there. But right now, making a mistake will be a little bit more costly compared to 2012. Okay. So this was basically our first session, guys. I did not, or basically I don't want to go into each of these particular thing within the sourcing project. That we will basically go into our next sessions in detail over there. Why? Because we have understood a lot of concept over there, fair share of this thing, and all of you will basically appreciate this information when you go through the recording. At that point of time, you will understand that we have got a lot of information in this particular session, and as a part of your activity, not only for today but from next week also, the first week activity is always, we will always say to our participant over there or candidates also over there, that please go through the recordings. And when you watch the recording, please don't watch it from session 1, watch it from our demo session. There also we have given a plenty of basic information which are required, that lays the foundation for our from our session 1. Okay, so these are the activity. Same thing I will also revert back on next, or basically coming Monday on 31st, when we are going to have our second session over there. Okay, after that particular week, that means 31st to 4th September, after that particular week when we are going to have the session from 7th September, there the activity will increase, guys. It's not just about watching video recordings. You have to do some other activity, and that also we will tell you over there as per our topics and as per our basically course advancement. Your task will change. Okay, so there also we will do it. And remember, guys, please don't think it's an optional thing. Why? Because if you think it is optional, then I will say the projects are not optional. Okay, keep this thing in your mind. Okay, so right now, guys, if you're having any queries or question on this part, please do raise your hand. Now, in case you're wondering how to raise a hand or where to raise a hand, look at the GoToTraining app. At the top, you will see a small hand sign. You can just click on it one time, and we will know that yes, you are having a query. Okay, so we are going to what? We are going to basically unmute all of you one by one. Excuse me. Yeah, Prakash, can you please go ahead with your query? Yeah, you need to unmute yourself, Prakash. Yeah, if you need to unmute, guys, go to the
Hello.
GoToTraining app. Yeah. I think, yeah, Prakash, we are able to hear you.
Uh, can you hear me?
Yeah, Prakash, we are able to hear
Like,
you.
yeah. I mean, I am not able to watch from the first itself. So, I mean, I still have some queries over there. But
Yeah,
is it possible that I can get this session, like, to check it over again once again?
Yeah, definitely. Not only for you, Prakash, but all of you are going to get this particular session. Just have a talk with our sales consultant who have basically contacted you over there. They will be basically sharing this particular training over there, this recording over there with all of you guys. Just get in touch with them over there who has basically contacted you.
Okay, okay,
Basically, the
okay.
sales consultant. Yeah. Any other queries, Prakash? Hello, Prakash. Are you able to hear me? Uh, I think, guys, am I audible to all of you? Yeah, I think there is some issue at your end, Prakash. Yeah, because a lot of other participants are saying yes, they are able to hear me. Okay, not an issue. We will basically, unmute you later on also. But in this case, if you want to see the recording over there, you can get it from our sales consultant. Just get in touch with them. They will help you out over there. Yeah, just a moment. Yeah, Mohammed, can you please go ahead with your query?
Hello, Manoj. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mohammed.
Actually, Manoj, I also need to get the starting session recording, as you said, I need to get it from the sales consultant. Surely, I will
Yeah,
do that. Apart from that,
yeah.
I have a query for RFP and RFI, which are going to used in downstream.
Mhm.
So, uh, can you give a glance for this?
So first of all, you have to remember over here, Mohammed, that RFI and RFP is part of your sourcing project. You cannot directly use it in downstream. Okay. So what you basically meant over there is basically downstream you want to do a procurement for non-catalog item. Okay. Once you had a non-catalog, Mohammed, can you just be on mute because some background noise is coming over here? Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Mohammed. So directly you cannot use RFI and RFP over there from upstream to downstream. Why? Because as we have discussed in our demo session, that upstream and downstream is having separate databases over here in Ariba. It's not a single database. In ERP, you are having single database, so there is no concept of upstream and downstream. But here it will be used differently. So what you are going to do is like you're going to create a PR over there in downstream with a non-catalog item, but this non-catalog item does not have a supplier. So what are you going to do? From there, you are going to create a sourcing project. So the sourcing project basically data like the product information and all those things is going to come from the PR. You're going to do the full sourcing project. Now, once this particular full sourcing project has been done, you will do the awarding. Once the awarding has been done, from there you will create a PO. So actually, this is basically the process which you will do. But in Ariba, this is uh, called as one-time procurement process. Why? Because ultimately at the end of the day, when you're finding the source of supply and you are creating a PO out of it, so it's a one-time procurement process. And in general process, what you will do is like you will always create a contract out of it. Why? Because the contract can be reused multiple times, it can be renewed multiple times. So this is how you can do this particular process. Yeah, if you're having any more queries, Mohammed, please unmute yourself and ask.
Okay, okay, Manoj. And one more thing,
Yeah.
Manoj. Can you illustrate the difference for RFI, RFP and RFI, and in downstream as we are using, and in upstream, uh, RFQ, and what are
No, no,
all the things?
there is no concept of RFQ. So remember, the RFQ concept does not exist in Ariba at all because it's a concept which basically use in ERP over there. In Ariba, we will only have RFI and RFP over there, and in auction, you won't have the term called as RFQ in Ariba over there at all. Okay, that's the first thing. And second thing is like, once again, I think Mohammed, were you present in our demo overview session?
No, no, I was not present
Yeah,
in the demo session.
exactly. Exactly. So I think for you it's very not only for you guys whoever is not, was not present in our demo overview session, please ask for a what you can say, the recording of that particular session, because that is why that recording is very very important, because of one reason. Because in that recording we have basically made all of you understand at least the basic things about upstream and downstream, and how the solutions are designed in Ariba over there. So Ariba solutions are very very different from that of ERP. And we also made a sweeping remark over there that please don't compare ERP with Ariba over there. Why? Because these are two different solutions. They are not competing against each other, they are complementing each other. Now if you want to basically compete, compare SRM with that of Ariba over there. In this case, Mohammed, I will suggest please go through the demo overview session, because you will understand over there that upstream and downstream solutions in Ariba is not just for the name perspective where Ariba has given the name upstream and downstream. They are also having separate databases. Separate databases means they are separate, what you can say, they're not connected with each other. The only point of connection basically which you're going to see is through the Ariba contract compliance over there. So I will highly urge, not only to you Mohammed, but anybody who is not attended the demo overview session, please go through the recording, then go through the first session recording. Lot of concept will become easier for you to understand. Yeah, any other queries, Mohammed, you're having?
Right now, no. Thank you, Manoj. Thanks for info. Surely I will connect with the sales consultant.
Yeah, thanks very much over here, Mohammed. And guys, if you want to basically get in touch with our sales consultant, you will see basically a mail basically giving you the confirmation, or basically giving you the link over there for our sessions, right? Within that mail, if you go down to the signature, there you will find your the sales consultant name as well as the contact number over there. You can either contact them through email, which you have already received, or if you want to basically have a call with them, you will find their contact number over there, so you can call them also over there. Yeah, thank you, Mohammed. Just a moment. Yeah, Hema, can you please go ahead with your query? Hema, can you please
Can you
unmute
hear me
yourself?
now?
Yeah, Hema, we are able to hear you.
All right. I have a very generic question. Suppose after this class, if we have any questions or something like that, are those questions carried to next session, or can we contact you via email or something like that?
Yeah, first of all, that's a good question, Hema. Over here, we generally don't put any, what you can say, like restriction over there. Hey, today's sourcing project means you can only ask on the sourcing project over there. No, you can also ask this particular question in our contract session also. We generally like questions over here. And sometimes you will see, even though officially we are having 2 hour sessions over there, but it will be stretching to 2.5 hour session, because for the weekends, if you see over there, we are having 3 hour sessions. Sometimes it will carry over to 3.5 to almost 3 hours 45 minutes sessions. Why? Because if the participants are having more question, we will never say no to them until unless we are having some important um, other things or other appointments over there. Till that particular time, we will never say no to them, even if it is basically the sessions are basically breaching our end time also, we will not say no. That's the first thing. And
Good.
second thing is like, and the second thing over there is, yes, we will also be sharing our Gmail ID with all of you guys, so that in between, if you are having some queries also, you can write us the mail over there. We will look at your queries and we will basically answer it back.
Okay, good. Thanks. I have another question on the full project. Suppose if we configure, when you creating the sourcing project, it is configured full project like RFI, RFP, auction. I assume these are the sequential steps. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
both will be
when I
like, RFI, RFP auction, this will be sequentially done.
okay. So if when I select it as a full project, is it going to give me first I'm going to create a RFI project once it is received and request got the requested information and everything, and then the project is auto complete, or it is going to create RFP next as a next step, auto populated?
Now that's a very good question over there. It won't be auto populated over there, but from there you will have no option other than to create RFP. So when you will
Okay.
create within the full project over there, automatically you will see whatever data is present in the RFI, that will automatically come into RFP over there. So that means whatever product information you have given over there, whichever supplier you have basically copied over there in the RFI, those things automatically will move into RFP.
But I have to create again a project, right? Or it is going to show up
No,
as
no,
the
no,
next
no,
step?
no, no.
Yeah.
Full project, when you are selecting full project, within that particular thing only you will be having three events: RFI, RFP, auction. You don't
Oh,
have to
okay.
create separate sourcing project. And
Okay.
yes, another option which you have said is also correct. You can also do three quick project. First is RFI. Okay. Next, another quick project you will click, basically that is basically called as RFP over there. But
Mm-hmm.
remember, in this case, these are two separate sourcing project. So how you can link this quick project which is of RFP type with that of the quick project which will be of RFP, basically through the concept of predecessor project. So predecessor project, we are going to understand it not in our next session, but maybe in our third session or in fourth session we are going to understand it in depth over there. But remember,
Okay.
only for quick project the predecessor project will come over there, but for full project it will never come.
Okay. Okay. And I have one more question. I'll wrap it
Yeah.
up very quick. So the
Yeah.
templates. So when we created first we have to create a project, then only the I can see the list of all the default projects or templates came up. Is
No,
there
no, no,
any
no.
way? No?
No, there is two ways of seeing the particular template. See, here basically the template which we have seen it from an end user point of view. We are selecting the template, but from a functional point of view, there will be a separate navigation path within the Ariba buyer itself. For that, you will need that functional consultant role over there. Once you're having that particular role, within that navigation path, you can see all the templates, whether it's sourcing, contracting, all those things, you can see it over there. The standard as well as custom, both you can see over there.
That's good. That's
But
good.
remember, end user
Hmm.
will not see that.
Yeah, but end user, if they want to see what is, if they may not know what template they have to select, can they see beforehand what is the content in the template before they create a
No,
project?
no, 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 no,
No.
no. We will never give that particular option over there. See, for an
Okay.
example, excuse me, there are two countries for which you are doing the implementation. Okay, for
Mm-hmm.
sourcing project or for contract, whatever may be the thing. Now, what is happening is like the approval process in India and the approval process in US will be significantly different, right? Similarly,
Right.
the sourcing project process will be different in India, and it will also be a little bit different in US. So what you're going to do is like you're going to create two custom template, one for India specific region, another for US specific region. Once you've done this thing, as part of the good Ariba consultant configuration over there, that means you have to do that particular configuration properly. That is, you should put a visibility condition. That means only the end user who are belonging from India are selecting that custom sourcing project India template.
Okay.
Similarly, the end users from US over there, they should see that custom sourcing project US template only. You will not give a option to the end user with multiple templates, letting them select this thing. Why? Because they will select the wrong template. So
That's why I asked the question. Like, we are showing the list of all the templates. They wouldn't know which one
yeah,
to pick without looking at the content. So, okay.
exactly. So we have to decide on that part how we are going to do it. So this is basically what you call as the design approach of the template. See, if I basically show you only the configuration options over there, all of you are going to say to me, Manoj, this is a normal thing. But if I show you the design approach, what are the different design approach and designing the template? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, as a functional consultant, we are designing, we are not configuring. Why? Because configuring things, we can basically show it to any engineering first year student or second year student also, they can do it. Same to
Yeah,
same,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But designing the things, that is our basically skill. So this is what we are going to do in a project. So when we will go to the template configuration session, the first thing I'm going to spend a little bit more time is on design approach. what are the different design approach, what is the advantages, what is the disadvantages, and then I will leave it to all of you guys to select what you can say according to your own will which option you should be taking up over there.
Okay, okay, thanks. In reality, generally, any buying organization, they will have their own template, right? It's not like any standard template or anything like that. We
Standard
don't lead
template
like
is
that.
never, see, standard template is very good for theoretical sessions. So that is
Right,
why
right.
in our session when we will go to the template configuration, we will begin with custom template first.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Yeah, welcome Eva. Just a moment. Yeah, Vinay, can you please go ahead with your query? Yeah,
Am I audible now?
yeah, Vinay, you're audible.
Yeah, Manoj, I think I'm asking a very basic question, but I want to understand what is the difference between a buyer, a supplier, and an end user. I do
Okay,
understand it, but I want to take out the thin line between them.
okay. So basically, bias means what will happen is like in very simple term. If you ask me who is bias, I will say the user who will log in into Ariba buyer. Plain and simple. Okay. So any user who is logging into Ariba buyer, they are basically called as buyer. Now within this buyer, you will have different subsection, subcategories like end user, admin, functional consultant. Now who is a end user? Now, end user are those particular buyers who will only create transactional document. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. They are basically your end user. Who is the admin? Basically, these guys will be resolving the issue of your end users over there. They will be having the admin roles. And the last category is basically the functional consultant. Who is this particular functional consultant? Functional consultant will be doing all this configuration and all those particular stuff, so they will have the admin role, plus they are going to have some extra roles which this end user and the uh, admin are not having over there.
Got it. So let me take one example. Let me say Amazon is one of an Ariba buyer, okay? And
Yeah,
now
yeah.
even I can log in into the Amazon site, not the Ariba buyer site to do my end user activities, right? You got
No,
my
no,
question?
no, 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 no. See, that is not basically end user activity. See, Amazon, what is their business? They are basically selling you the product from their website. So what is this Amazon website? That is their end product. Amazon website, basically Amazon.in is basically the end product over there. And end user means basically, let's say the guys who are basically procuring the goods or basically ordering the goods. So the internal procurement team from Amazon, who are basically nothing but the end user, they will not log into Amazon.in. They will log into the Ariba buyer for Amazon only. Why? Because Ariba buyer are always specific to your organization. Amazon will have a separate Ariba buyer. Let's say your next client is Procter and Gamble. Procter and Gamble will have a separate Ariba buyer. Otherwise, whatever data you're loading, whatever configuration you're doing, it will reflect globally. This is wrong. So remember, end user will always log in into Ariba buyer over there. And if you look at Amazon, Amazon website is nothing but the end product over there. This particular thing, if they're logging in over there, they are basically logging in to resolve the issue over there. That is not for procuring any goods. But remember, when we are logging over there, we are logging as a customer, not as an end user.
Correct. Okay. So I just want to add one more line. Okay. Let me
Yeah.
take HP is trying to launch a new product for the smartphone
Mhm,
as we
mhm,
discussed. Okay.
mhm.
Now you have a Ariba buyer site, right?
Yeah,
Because they
HP
want
definitely will have Ariba buyer site. Exactly.
exactly they want to procure the new products. They have a Ariba buyer site. Now
Yeah.
they are going to make a RFI or a new sourcing document saying that hey, these are the things I might require or no, I need to have for getting this end product.
Exactly. So basically, in the Ariba buyer, the end user will go and create a sourcing project. It can be RFI for the smartphone. If it is for the laptop, based on that requirement, it can be RFP. So within the sourcing project, he will choose your proper event over there. As a end user, you're going to fill up the data and you're going to publish this particular sourcing project to the supplier in Ariba network. That would be your activity over there.
Okay, so I'm really sorry if I'm troubling others, but I'm new to this terminology. So what
Yeah,
I understand is like Ariba is on a whole is an space for all the buyers. Okay.
exactly. Just for example, I think you have seen right?
Yes. Yes.
So in what the purchaser will do, basically they will order the goods and services, right? Similarly, they will basically create a RFQ, right? So who is creating this RFQ? The purchaser, right? So
Mm-hmm.
purchaser end user. So purchaser is equal to nothing but buyer in Ariba over there. So end users in Ariba are logging into Ariba site in terms of ERP over there. Purchaser end users are logging into They are basically creating RFQ. Here they are basically creating a sourcing project with event type RFP. Same thing is happening also over here.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to get it in the terms of HP. HP is
Mhm,
needing some kind of goods, right?
mhm.
Okay. Are they creating a auction? I mean, they are creating a source. Are they starting a source saying that, hey, I need this?
No, yeah, supply information services, right?
Come again? I think I want to take a live example so that I can connect these terms
No,
with
no,
that.
no, no. ACUS you have talked about, right?
Uh, what I talked about?
ACUS.
SUS. No, I'm not
Okay,
getting
okay.
that.
Yeah. Can you just repeat your query once more, Vinay?
Okay. So the HP is trying to launch a smartphone and they have
Mhm,
a form like bill of materials, what they require for getting the end product. Okay.
mhm.
Okay. Now, who is going to start that sourcing document? Is it the HP is going to put that like a or is the end user is going to say, hey, these I have it? How the business starts?
Okay, so basically HP will not do anything. See, HP is an organization, right? So on behalf of HP, the employees of HP who are basically having the sourcing agent role, they are basically end user, right? So this end user will create the sourcing project for procurement of components related to this new smartphone, and they will publish this particular sourcing project to the supplier over there. Then supplier will give the different quotation over there.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so always remember, HP in this case, we basically use a generic term in Ariba over there that is basically called as buying organization. Okay, just like when you're going for ERP implementation, right? So if you are implementing for that particular organizations over there, or basically for your client. So in that sense, your client is also called as the buying organization from a perspective. Similarly, in Ariba, when you're implementing Ariba over there for HP, if you are basically implementing Ariba, HP is basically the buying organization. So any employees of of your buying organization who are having access to Ariba, they are majorly end user over there.
Okay. Okay. Inside the HP, the employees who are going to create this sourcing document or the end users. On behalf of HP, they are going to create this sourcing document and publish
Yeah,
it in the.
published to the Ariba network over there. Then supplier will basically give the different quotation over there based on the prices, submit their quotation. Then this particular end user will decide which is the best source of supply and award that particular supplier. Done. Your sourcing project is done.
Okay. And I heard you are telling like in the template, there are some fields which should be very specific to a functional guy and it should not be coming to the end user scope or visibility. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. In that terms, you are telling to a publish a template or publish a sourcing document. Okay. Now,
Mhm.
again, how a end user is coming in, pitching in between, because I heard like you saying that the sourcing document will be prepared by the end user,
Yeah, definitely.
and
See,
how a functional
functional
consultant will be pitching in into his part.
functional consultant, see, functional consultant, they will never create transactional document in production system, right?
Okay, yes.
This will be done by the end user. Functional consultant will do the template configuration over there. So what I said
Okay.
is very clear over here, that some field basically which is depend on the end user should be entered by the end user within the sourcing project. This thing should not be given by the functional consultant within the template. That is a specific rule for point A. For point B, these particular fields are dependent on functional consultant. So end user should not be given an option to enter this data within the sourcing project over there. So in this case, functional consultant have to enter the data slash perform the config within the template itself.
Okay. So once a template is done, the functional consultant role for that sourcing document is done.
No, again, remember, it's not specific to sourcing document. Sourcing document, you don't use the term sourcing document, you use the term sourcing project. So remember,
Okay.
you can create n number of templates, and for each template, you can create n number of sourcing project over there.
For each template, you have n number of sourcing project. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
From a particular, you can use any template over there, right? When you're creating a sourcing project as an end user, you can select any template over there, right? So a particular template can be used to create multiple sourcing project over there. So the sourcing project and the template relationship is not in a one-into-one relationship, but in a very different relationship over there, one-is-to-n relationship.
Okay. Okay. And when I'm creating a sourcing project, I see
Hmm.
like we are not copying, we are just starting it. Okay. The templates are
Yeah.
flowing by itself. I don't know how the templates are getting in. There should be a filter, right? Because I'm doing some task, only the relevant template should be flowing in.
So they are relevant only. They are sourcing
Okay.
template, right? They are not contract template, which is automatically flowing over there.
Okay. Okay. So a functional consultant will prepare n number of templates, and all the templates will be visible or will be coming up for the selection.
Then again, this is a very good question. This will depend on your design approach. Design approach basically depends on your client's requirement. So right now, I will suggest don't go into this part. Stay
Okay.
in the process flow, understand the process flow. When we will basically come to the template configuration session, so there you will see the first thing which I will touch base is on the design approach over there. How you are going to design this particular template over there. So in
Okay.
details, we are going to look into this thing.
Okay. And one last question. I'm talking about the enhanced requirement. Okay. ERs. Okay. You are saying like make them as limited as much. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think right now it is very, I cannot ask this, but I'm just asking out of curiosity. How can you minimize because your organization will not be run on the terms of, other organization, because Ariba has their own set of rules, but you wanted your own set of rules, you need to make customization.
No, that is not the point. My point over there is like most of the Ariba functional consultant, they don't know enough configuration options over there. They don't know the full design approach over there. So the basic things is like if you go through a demo session, you will understand most of them are basically coming from the ERP background. They are understanding Ariba is same as that of ERP over there. Some theoretical knowledge they will have over there, just the different option. Then they will go to the project, they will face difficulty over there, how to do the configuration, where to do the configuration. They don't understand this thing. So the easy way out for them is basically this is ER. Okay, but
Okay.
in reality you can do that particular configuration options over there, but you should have that particular knowledge how to do it. So if you're not having that particular knowledge, what he will say is like he will take the easy way out. This is ER. So
Correct.
that is why
Correct.
if you go over there, you will see 100 plus, maybe even 150 years. But in
Okay.
reality, 30, 35 ER is more than enough.
Okay. Just to cut short, which can be done within the Ariba given possibilities. They're going for an easy way. Am I right? I mean,
Easy way.
instead of doing it within the Ariba, that
Hmm.
using an ER, which is not required, which can be done in the Ariba itself, they are going for an.
See, the thing is like when you will work in ERP. Forget about Ariba for the
Mhm.
time being. When you
Okay,
work in
okay,
ERP, if you cannot do anything through the help of SQL or configuration, what you will do? You will ask a
I go for
technical guy to
OTP.
basically go for the
Exactly,
enhancement or
exactly.
screen exit or basically the bodies over there, right?
Right, sir.
Why? Because the configuration options are not available. But if the configuration
Exactly.
options are available, but still I will ask the technical guy to do this thing.
Okay,
What is the
because
what
I'm
does it
not
mean?
aware of that. Okay, because I'm
Does it
not
mean
aware.
like
Okay.
no, no, no? I'm not talking about this thing. Vinay, I'm not
No, no,
saying
no.
to you, not to anybody else.
No,
What
no,
I'm
no,
saying over
no,
here
no,
is
no, no, Manoj. I think we are
yeah,
contradicting. I'm accepting
yeah,
because person is not aware that the configuration is available. Okay, he's
exactly.
exactly.
That is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
point.
Got that.
That is the
Yeah,
point.
yeah. You
So
got that. Yeah,
the attitude should be like, as a functional consultant, we should know the full information over there. Once you are having that full information, once you go to the project, what will happen is like it will be smooth sailing for all of you over there. It won't be like, hey, what is this? I have to depend on the ER over there. And since Ariba is an on cloud solution, we don't have the technical consultant working along with us in the service provider firm. Let's say Accenture is implementing for HP over there, so Accenture won't get the access to deploy their technical consultant. Only Ariba support team has that particular access. So that is why we have to go to connect.ariba.com. We have to raise an enhancement request ticket, and only SAP Ariba employees who are working in the engineering department, they can do the changes on the source code over there.
okay, got it. Yeah, I'm done. Thanks, Manoj.
Yeah, welcome Vinay. Just a moment. Yeah, Venkat, can you please go ahead with your query?
Hi Manoj, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Venkat.
Yeah, actually while creating the project, test project, okay,
Mhm.
so I gone through each and everything in the test project, each and everything is fine. So after that, should I copy that test project to actual project?
Can you just repeat your query once more, Venkat?
Can you please go to Ariba window?
Yeah. So, yeah.
Source project. So, okay,
Acha, you want me to go to the, create sourcing project?
right.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Here we have a test project is there, no? So yes or no?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have created the test project here. So
Mhm.
each and everything is fine. So shall I copy that same project after 2 days or after completion of the test project? Everything is fine. So customer confirmed that this is fine. So shall I copy the same project into new project?
Of course, you can do it. So in that case, you will, whether test project is yes or no, it does not matter over there. All the particular sourcing project,
Mhm.
whether it's test project as yes, test project as no, you will find in this particular list, and you can just select on it. What will happen is like from your old sourcing project, all the data will come to your new sourcing project, irrespective of whether the test project is given as yes or no.
Okay. And we are mentioning the region, right? This is the region for can you please explain that this is the region
Region
for
basically for the
I
buyer.
mean
For the buyer, say
setup
let's say you're from India,
buyer.
right? So basically you're doing this particular
Yeah.
procurement for which particular region? For India region over there. So that is basically the buyer regions over there, nothing else over there.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Manoj. I'm done.
Yeah, welcome, Venkat. Sunil, you can go ahead with your query. Can you please unmute yourself and ask your query?
Yeah, Manoj, thanks. Is the
Yeah.
template
Hmm.
should be based on the document type or something like it's unique for across all the templates?
I will say not document type. Why? Because in document type, if you go into ERP or in SRM over there, you will find a lot of limitation. Only some basic configuration can be done. But here in template, you can do the activity configuration, business rule validation configuration, approval configuration, all these particular things. So comparing it with document type, I will not agree on this part. Why? Because the configuration options in document type is very less. But here in template, you can see that every configuration regarding the transactional document can be done over there within the template.
Okay, if we create one template, the same
Mhm.
should be copied for all the similar type of templates for the
now
users.
now basically this basically statement over there we can only answer when we are very much clear from a design perspective. Now there will be multiple design perspective over there. How you're going to define uh, what you can say the same type of process, how you're going to define that this is a different kind of process. So you have to understand the differentiation, like differentiation will be based on certain parameter. Now let's say somebody says to you that here we follow a different process and in other place we follow the different process. So you will immediately say okay, so that means based on the region you are determining the process flow, right? Like this basically there will multiple factors over there which will come into design approach. So once we understand the design approach, then we basically we can give this answer over here. Otherwise if we give answer right now over there, it will most probably be wrong.
And even for each and every suppliers, the taxes will be there. GST, something, IGST, CGST, and all. All these things, it will be come in this sourcing project, or how that we should.
No. That taxation part generally won't come in the sourcing project. This will basically come into your ordering section. That means when
Okay.
you will order a PO over there basically the tax calculation will come into the picture. And yes, in Ariba, basically you can do the GST tax calculation and the other non-GST tax calculation also you can do it very simply.
Once if we complete the template, the PDF, it will be converted into PDF formats.
Why will need a PDF converter, PDF document over there? But yes,
Now,
if you want to basically download the sourcing project over there, you can download in a Excel format in Ariba, but not in PDF format.
how did we send communication to the supplier, whatever the
So
template?
that's a very good question, Sunil. So here it is not like that of ERP. Why? Because in the ERP you will have different output, and they are basically either some of the client will use basically EDI, or some of them basically will choose the print option, or some of them will basically choose the email option. Why? Because the supplier don't have a separate portal where they can see the document and reply back against that particular transactional document. But here in Ariba network is the primary mode of what you can say, like mode of communication between the buyer and the supplier over there. So this particular sourcing project by default we will publish to the supplier in Ariba network. We will not send them as a kind of print. Why? Because if we send it as a part of print over there, this will be a manual process. So in Ariba, everything is captured in the system. So always remember, remember buyer will basically log in into Ariba buyer. Supplier will also have their login, but remember in Ariba network. So in Ariba network, you're going to move the transactional documents.
That means all the buyers and suppliers should be in the same Ariba network. Outside of the
No,
Ariba
no,
network, the
no.
suppliers will not do this.
Buyer will be in Ariba buyer. Supplier will
Oh,
be in Ariba network. Once buyer completes the work, Ariba will only move this document from the buyer part, or basically replicate this document to the supplier account in Ariba network.
okay. Thanks, Manish.
Yeah, welcome, Sunil. Just a moment. Yeah, Amber, can you please go ahead with your query?
Yeah, hi Manoj.
Yeah,
So, uh, like my query is, I think very basic one. Uh,
yeah.
when you say that we are creating an RFP or a RFI event, right? And in the template section, we select the suppliers. So suppliers that we select over there, right? Uh, how are they present in the system? Are they in like registered status, qualified, or without even registration, qualification, supply request? There's some other way we can put suppliers into the system.
There is two things. First of all, remember,
Yeah,
in the template we will never choose supplier. Why? Because if we choose the supplier in template, whenever we are going to create a sourcing project over there, that
that supply will be
supplier will
quick. No, no, I'm talking about the supply when we create a quick project or a full
sourcing
project.
project.
When,
Yeah. So in that case, generally, we put a validation over there. That particular validation is always like only registered supplier. Why? Because registered supplier already have a supplier account in Ariba network over there. That means this supplier, if you're including in the sourcing project, they can very easily see the sourcing project over there within their account over there. But
right, right.
Ariba,
But in the discussions we said that we do not have any information about the product, right? So
yeah,
how are we, like if I'm creating an RFP, if I want to buy a drone for my company, so
yeah,
the prerequisite is that I should know that okay, these are the 10 suppliers who will give drones to me, right?
yeah, definitely.
Because
Now,
because
now
for
remember,
that I need to have the details of those 10 suppliers in my system. After that
yeah.
only I can in those suppliers for a RFP or an RFQ, right?
Yeah. So first of all, remember how the end user will go and create a sourcing project. They cannot just basically ask over their teammates, hey, I will need those
Right.
particular 100 drones, and they will immediately go and create a sourcing project in the system. So there is a thing
Okay.
which is called as market research. So whenever
Okay.
you will
Okay.
go to
Okay.
implementation over there, you will ask your
Okay.
end user how you're identifying these are the specific supplier, how you're identifying
Right.
there will be other options also which will be coming, which is called a ceiling price. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
historic
Okay.
price
Right.
over there. Historic price
Right.
means
Right.
what? The last time when
Right.
you buy,
The
what
last,
was the price?
previous value at which we procured the product, right?
Exactly,
Right.
but those particular thing, this is basically non-catalog item, right? We have never procured this thing before. So this
Right. Right.
values will be coming from the market research over there. So based upon that particular thing, we will identify whether we are already having the onboarded supply in the system or we have to
Okay.
onboard new suppliers over there. Once that particular thing has been determined in the market research, then only the end user
Okay.
will go and create a sourcing project over there.
Okay, okay, okay. Manu, so this is Manu, just a brief introduction that this is like I'm working in an IT company only. This is my fifth Ariba implementation project. So my main concern joining this training is I have
Hmm.
knowledge, but I don't have that knowledge organized. I hope you know that. So I had on project training. So I have little bit of SLP, I have little bit of sourcing. But if you ask me the flow, I don't have that flow, right? So this is the main purpose of me joining these trainings. Yeah, that's what I needed. So I was a bit confused that you said that we are getting a new product, but how are we selecting the suppliers? Because that thing I thought that would somewhere connect to Ariba Discovery. So
No,
that was a
Arriva
bit
Discovery is
confusing.
a very good product, but remember it will never be used by your client. Why?
Right,
Because in real
right,
life
right,
scenario, if you try to
right,
onboard a new supplier over there, first of all, you have to publish your sourcing project to millions of suppliers. So
right,
that is
right, right.
almost kind of a
That's
security
what I
breach.
was confused about. Right.
And the second thing is like if you try to onboard those supplier in between the sourcing project, this will get stopped over there. So instead of
Okay.
2 or 3 weeks for the whole sourcing project, that will take somewhere around 5 or 6 months to get completed.
Right, right. Manoj, will you be giving a overview about the guided buying part, the
Exactly.
GB?
We will be giving it. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, sure. Yeah, thank you. That's from my side, Manoj. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Welcome, member. And just a moment. Just give me a moment, guys. Just give me a moment. Yeah, just a moment, guys. Sri Sai, can you please go ahead with your query?
Yeah. Hi, Manoj.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, Sri Sai.
my question is like in this initial screen, before
Mhm.
selecting the tab template, if we want to add a new field or change an existing field, that
Ha.
will be a ER request or
ER, ER, ER. So always remember, since remember it is not just a change in the screen, right? We have to save the data also within the database field over there, right? So within the database also that particular field has to be created. So that access definitely we don't have. So it has to be created with the help of ER.
okay. So now after selecting the template, the next screens, those fields, those are
Hmm.
practically we are handling them through templates, so we can control them, right?
Exactly. But remember, if you want to add some custom fields, now the issue is like whether you're in the create sourcing project or in the next screen, it does not matter. Why? Because the field has to be added at the database level over there. So that particular thing, always remember custom fields. This is basically called as flex fields in Ariba. So if you want to create a flex fields in Ariba, you always has to log an ER over there. But remember in the normal sourcing project, once it has been created, those particular standard fields can be basically controlled with the help of a template. But any custom field, if you want to create, depending on the client's requirement, that means the flex field, it has to be created with the help of enhancement request.
Okay. Now my second question is regarding the buyer roles. Let's say we have two group of buyers, both end users. Now
Yeah,
on the initial screen, can we differentiate those two? Because I know you said using the templates we can differentiate.
yeah. If we can differentiate over there, but remember that differentiation you have to do it at the template level over there. Why? Because ultimately in the create sourcing project screen, those are standard field, right? So most of the time you have to ask me over there that Manoj, there can be client's requirement. So one group of end user will have a separate process, another group of end user will have totally different process from the first end user group. So if you can design it, yes, you can design it within the template, but remember within the template also you will get to know what is the specific role of the end user, and based on that also you can control, okay, this particular end user is belonging to group 1, so show the group 1 template. This end user is belonging to group 2, then show the group 2 template. Like this you can do it.
Okay. Okay, Manoj.
But remember you have to configure the condition over there within the template, where the expression is role is equal to group 1, role is equal to group 2, you have to put that. We will see in detail within our template configuration.
Okay. Okay, Manoj. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Welcome, Srishai. Just a moment. Yeah, Atul, can you please go ahead with your query?
Yeah, hi Manoj. Morning. Atul here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Hello, Atul. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm able to hear you perfectly. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So a couple of things here I have in mind. That
Yeah,
when you start your training, it would be. I mean, what I understand today is that you've gone through what is by RFP auctions.
yeah,
Difference about them. Then you've talked about what is a quick project and a full project based, and
yeah,
you touched on how you go about creating a contract or sorry, creating a sourcing event, right?
yeah, yeah,
So basically, you take an example of a quick project as a reference. So basically, I understand is that these are certain default Ariba templates that can be used to quickly come up with your sourcing project, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So okay, I think that's what I was covered. What my thought here was that is when you start, I mean, just my view on this. So that when you do your training on a daily basis, you can start with what was the topics that you would be covering, which is the agenda, so that we have a clarity of what is being covered, and then a summarizing at the end of the training of what was done, which gives everybody an understanding of what all was covered, and then there's a doubt we can ask from there, right? Is it okay, right?
See, Atul, the thing is like, I will be frank with you on this part over there. See, we have been doing this training for the last 3 years over there. So we have, changed our training structure, the training methodology, in between, depending on when Ariba is changing its solution, depending on the basically requirement from the participants over there, and we have basically stabilized on this particular mode from the last 1.5 year. Why? Because this has been very much acceptable to most of the participant over there who are coming from diverse background. Now this
Right.
particular thing what you are saying over there, this is basically good for your theoretical training, where you will have the agenda over there, how it is going to be done, where it is going to be done. But in practical sessions, the added advantage of doing this particular thing is when will be going into the configuration sessions, or when I'm going into the process flow sessions. So there I have to basically come up with the different process flow, different scenarios over there, which basically will get included in the client side. Okay, so basically what is happening is like this particular things are dynamic in nature. So dynamic in nature means like from the project perspective we are remembering, and we are basically telling you that these are the things how we have to do it over there. So we don't have a specific thing. Yes, if you are basically talking about the content which we are going to cover in our sessions, that particular thing you can find in our demo session, or you can ask our sales consultant, they can basically give that particular list of the content which will be covered. But
No,
remember,
that part I understand. No, that part I
yeah.
understand. Manoj. But what I'm saying is on a daily basis when you do your trainings, what out
Hmm.
of that content you would be covering, and if you can share that at the beginning in the line when you are doing this, starting it, you can say bullet point 1, 2, 3. This is what will be covered. That gives us an idea, right? So I can understand that once you get into a training, and based on the topic that you're covering, you would go into details based on the practicality and based on your experience and based on what is good for the audience. But at least a couple of bullet points at the beginning where these are the topics. Like today, if I understand, it was RFI, RFPs, and then it was the big project, full project, and a brief introduction to the
Yeah.
sourcing event.
So
That's what was.
those point, those point only what we are saying over here, Atul, that we cannot specify over here. Why I will say you, because this particular thing is very dynamic in nature. Because see, there will be certain participant who will basically come up with the different uh, what you can say explanation over there. So what we have to do is like we have to keep this thing on our toes, and if we basically approach in this way, what will happen is like, see, yes, we can say we have done the sourcing, then we will go ahead and basically see the contract part over there. But
Correct, correct.
exactly what are the different activities over there which we are going to do, that particular thing we cannot say. Why? Because for each session, or basically not session, basically each batch, this particular thing is changing. See, 6 months ago we used to basically begin our session with SLP. Then basically what we noticed over there is like Ariba has changed the SLP structure in such a way that it is more of a integration point of view over there, and SLP has taken the integration at its heart right now. So for the last 6 months, what we have done is like we have moved the SLP to our integration session. Why? Because the same thing also has been done by Ariba, and within the project also it is happening in that particular perspective over there. So what we have done is like we have basically changed our process flow over there, or basically methodology, or what you can say like the sequence over there. Why? Because this has been necessitated by SAP's action, also by the project implementations over there. Lot of basically participants ask me why you're not beginning with SLP, because that is how you're going to do it in the project over there. So that is why, see, the thing is like, yes, we can say these are the topics which we are going to cover, but within this topic, what are the things it is going to come up, it we will see it in the particular project. And now basically in today's session told a little bit on the bidding rules, that you should not use this particular option. Then in the next session I will basically say none of the bidding rules should be given to the end user. Why I did not went into that particular thing today entirely? Because so that all of you are given enough time to extract, or basically understand that particular thing. Yes, I can complete this thing within one session, it's not an issue, but none of you will basically understand. So that is why, even though the things which we could have completed in one session, we are basically moving into the next session so that all of you are getting the time. Now after 2 weeks or maybe 1.5 weeks, then at that point of time all of you will basically start understanding in a much easier way. So there basically, yes, we can you know make extend our session a little bit, and we can cover more information, not an issue. But at the beginning we should not do this thing. So that is why the content part over there, I cannot give it in our session, because if I give that particular things today, you will see one thing, tomorrow you will see that the list is changing over there. Why it is changing? Because we could not complete in one session over there. So that is why we generally don't do that particular mode of training over there. Our training are very much dynamic in nature, which will change according to the participant present, according to SAP's point of view, which is changing, and according to our project implementation.
Okay, I mean let's go the way you were trying. It's okay, no worries.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that during the demo session, I saw that there was a training folder which I think we would be getting access to, right?
Yeah. Ariba access.
So that should be coming through in a day or two. The access to
Yeah,
the
you
training
just
folder.
basically get in touch with our sales consultant over there. They will be providing you that particular access details, and how it will be provided, it will be basically provided through a mail, and some information also you have to check it within the G drive folder, which all of you will be getting. So within the
Yeah,
G
yeah.
drive folder, go to the Ariba access. There we have basically the do's and don'ts list over there, and the supply details. But the buyer details and all those things, basically our sales consultant is going to drop you a mail over there. So just get in touch with them.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, one thing that then anyway you should try and do is summarize at the end of the session, right? When once you think we are at the end of the session, just summarize whatever was done, so that if you cannot have an agenda at the beginning, at least summarization should be okay at the end of the class, where what all was done and what all was able to cover in that day. I think that should be okay.
Yeah, so basically I think the summarization basically should happen on the next day starting. That means next session beginning, we should basically begin with a little bit of summarization, and then we should begin our new session. So in that way,
Okay,
basically what
okay,
will happen is like it will be much more helpful. So yes, that we can do
okay.
definitely.
Oh, fair enough. No worries. And the other last thing I think is about a break, a logical break. So if we start at 7:30, let's try
Yeah.
and put that as a housekeeping rule that we break at 8:30 for 5 to 10 minutes, whatever you decide. And then we
Yeah.
have the session, the second part of the session, and then probably a follow on the questions that people
Yeah.
have from the participants. Right?
Exactly on this part, Atul. But remember, there is two issue over there. Not only for Atul, but for everybody over there. There is two issue. The issue is like we will try to take the break at 8:30. But remember, certain point is like there are
Yeah,
two, three
logical break.
points
I
which are
understand.
connected each other. So if I break in
Yeah.
between, what will happen is like that logical flow will break. So most of the time we will try to take the break at 8:30. But certain times, you know it might change depending on the logical flow which we are seeing. That's the first thing.
Sure.
And second thing, I do understand that we have basically extended our session by 32 minutes in today sessions. Why? Because
Yeah, I
all
think.
of you are having query over there, so it's not an issue with us. And remember, anyway, not only for your tool but for everybody, each of these sessions are getting recorded. So once your question has been answered, what you can do is like you can leave the particular session also. Why? Because anyhow, what other participant is asking, what question they are asking and what answer I'm giving, that is also getting recorded in the session. That also you can look at it in your spare time over there. In this way you can do it. But I do understand the session will get extended. Why? Because some of you might have a little bit more queries, and we generally don't say no over there until unless we are having some pressing or important matter to attend over there. We will basically extend our timings a little bit on this every session's part.
Yeah, I understand. We have so many participants and everybody will have questions, and naturally this part will get extended. And you have made a valid point, so people can leave if they're done with their queries. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I think yeah, good session today, Manoj. Yeah, let's now target for Monday onwards. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, welcome, Atul. Yeah, so let us conclude our session for today. And guys, to those of you who have registered, please get in touch with our sales consultant. They will help you in the access and the other part. And to those of you who have not registered, please get in touch with our sales consultant. They will also help you in the registration process. And our next session will be on the Monday, same time over there. Okay. And a happy weekend to all of you guys in advance. Okay. And once again, thanks Dipali for conducting our session, and thanks all of you guys for participating in our session. Yeah, let's conclude our session for today. Thank you guys.